You know, there's one thing that can get you into a whole world of trouble if you're not very careful. These things. Credit cards. I've got two of them. Some people have more, some people have none. Oh, if you've got a credit card, is it maxed out? Is it in danger of being maxed out? You tell me. With what's happening lately, I can see a danger that people are going to rely on credit cards more and more if they're not getting enough money in to foot the bill, pay for basic necessities. It's human nature. You just get desperate and you go and look at other ways of doing it. Well, if you end up falling behind with your credit card bills, there are consequences attached. And there's paths that can be gone down. And what I want to do today is try and help you out of one of those potential paths that you could go down. And the one I mean is the path that leads directly to the debt collector. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're doing all right. Midway through the week now, aren't we? And, all good here. Hope you are. Leave a comment. Let me know what you're up to. Well, let's go back to it, shall we? Credit cards. I've addressed this a couple of times in the past where I felt that it's needed, and I think it needs readdressing even more now because we're heading into murky waters. Now, before I start, a little disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. I am not an accountant. I am a taxi driver. I am going to advise you based on what I know works, what I've used that's worked for me, and what I've helped other people with doing the same. I currently have a court case going on and also trying to help a vulnerable person get the debt collectors away from him. So I have some idea of, the basic mechanics, and hopefully I can impart some of that knowledge to you. The other disclaimer, of course, is I do not condone anybody taking a credit card or a loan out and shirking on the debt and not paying it. That's simply not on. But we have to recognize that in the current situation we live in, this is going to happen more and more. So what we have to do, we have to mitigate the consequences for ourselves. Let me explain. You take a credit card, say £1,000 limit, and you max out that credit card, and let's say, it's 29-30% APR, and you try your best to pay it, and eventually you can't anymore because other things take over, and you get in a bit of trouble. The credit card company or the bank or whoever it happens to be starts getting shitty with you and starts sending you these lovely letters. And they always have the big red capital letters and underlined. It's all shock jock type stuff designed to shock and awe and get you to do the thing. And what it does, inevitably, it has the opposite effect. People stick their head up their arse and hope it goes away. Well, if you do that and don't talk to the banks, this is, all the while it's with the banks, you've actually got more cards to play, but we can cover that in another video. They'll sell it eventually to a debt collecting agency. Now, there are many, many out there. There's Lowell, Cabby Finance, and various others, that I can think of, all varying in stubbornness and what they get up to, depending on how they operate. Once that starts, the cycle goes again. Then you get all the shitty letters saying, oh, you can set up a payment arrangement with us. Blah, blah. And if you ignore them, inevitably you could end up with a county court judgment. A lot of people say, oh, ignore them, they'll go away. Well, they're getting bolder now and actually filing more court claims, as I found out recently with someone I'm trying to help get round it. And again, that's something for another time. What I want to talk about today is that process of moving that debt or that account from its original creditor through to them and the legalities of that process. Now, what happens when you fall out of favour with the bank? They'll have a ledger sheet with loads and loads of different accounts on who have all fallen out of favour, and accounts on to Cabot, Lowell, whoever it happens to be, for say, I don't know, 50, 60p in the pound. And then Lowell or Cabot or whoever will come after you for, the sale cost plus the difference, bringing up to the original balance. That's basically how it works. Now, what they're relying on, of course, is your ignorance as to the legalities of the process. When that account moves over, it's called an assignment. They're assigning that debt to you from themselves, moving it over. Now, there's a document that should exist called a deed of assignment, and it should have 2 signatures from each company on it, 2 from the original bank and 2 from where it's going to. Now, if that document doesn't exist, then they can't come after you for it. There's 2 types of assignment. There's a legal assignment and an equitable assignment. An equitable assignment is when they say, here's the account, all yours, but they can't take any legal action against you without the involvement of the original bank. And if they bought it off of them, why would they get involved? The other one, of course, is a legal assignment where the debt or the account is transferred from the original bank over to the debt collector. And as well as that, the legal obligation to come after the original account holder for the balance. That's a legal assignment. And what we have to determine when they start coming after you is how it was transferred, or in other words, was it done properly, legally, so they can come after you for it. And we need them to prove it. The burden of proof is on them. Now, what I want to tell you about is something called the 3-letter process, which is exactly how this is done. Before I go down that road, I want to show you a website which is very, very handy if you've got debt collecting problems or any kind of issue with penalty notices or anything like that. I'll bring this up. This is a site I use all the time. It's called Beat the Bailiffs. They have a Facebook group as well. I'll bring that full screen so you can see it. And it has loads and loads and loads of information there about various different aspects of debt collecting activities and what you do about them. It's site.google.com/view/beat the bailiffs. And it actually tells you exactly what a bailiff is, what they actually have the power to do, can you do anything about it, and so on and so on and so on. Very, very handy. I'll put a link to that website in the description of this video. They also have a Facebook group as well, aptly called Beat the Bailiffs. I haven't put the Facebook group in here because I'm aware a lot of you don't do Facebook. Can't say I blame you either. But let's go back to the 3-letter process. What is it? We have to send them 3 letters, 2 weeks apart. The first one, we say, okay, fair cop. I'll accept what you say, but I would like to see this document, and this document before I accept that I'm liable to you for this amount of money. Send that and send it by recorded delivery. And then what will happen, they will either write back and say, we haven't got it, and close the account, which is highly unlikely, or they will give you some kind of standard fob-off stroke template letter, which is basically doing this to you, which is most likely. So then what you do, you proceed to letter 2, and you say to them, again, send by recorded delivery. You say to them, 2 weeks ago, I sent you a letter. I haven't had a satisfactory response. So I will ask you again. I want to see blah, 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 blah. After that second letter, they'll either ignore you, give you more bullshit, or they'll fold. In any event, 2 weeks later, you send them the 3rd letter by recorded delivery. And what that letter actually says, look, I've asked you twice. I'm going to ask you a 3rd and final time. And if you can't prove the case, then fuck off and leave me alone. And any other communication from you would be deemed as harassment. Now, it really is that simple. It's a process of put up or shut up. Now, when you get to the end of the three-letter process, they can do three things really. They can continue to harass you, in which case you complain to the FSA. Most of them will be regulated by the FSA. They'll say, okay, you've got us, and they'll close the account. That happens very rarely these days. Or, of course, the third option, they can continue and they can try and take you to court. If they take you to court, you have a level of protection when it gets that far because you've already asked them 3 times. Where's the proof I owe you this money? This forms part of the court case I'm dealing with at the moment, and I will reveal the outcome of that when the hearing is all done in January. Because of sub judice, I'm not going to talk about it beyond that. But, you know, you have that evidence of the fact that you've asked them for this information. Why are they wasting the court's time? And you can use civil procedure rules to bolster your case even further. And I will do a separate live stream on that at some point, you know, in the next couple of months to show you that stuff as well. I want to show you the 3-letter process or the actual text of the 3-letter process right now so you can see. Share screen. Again, I'll make sure this is full. Yes, it is, so you can see it. Now, this is the 3-letter process. As well as the 3-letter process, there are other letters you can put in as well to try and strengthen your case. But this explains everything. I mean, here you are. The debt buyer said you owed them money and you sent a letter. No, I sent 3 letters, Your Honour. I gave them a notice of conditional acceptance for them to provide the contract and deed of assignment. I gave them 2 weeks and sent another one to ask again. After a further 2 weeks, I sent them a notice of irrevocable estoppel and a cease and desist. They had every opportunity to prove the debt, and they failed. So how it works, you literally send them the 3 letters. Go down to the first one. I mean, this page has got lots and lots of information. I mean, here we go. Notice of conditional acceptance. Now, the key thing here is what you're doing. You're accepting that this debt exists and you may owe it, but the onus is on them to actually prove it by providing you with documentary evidence to that fact. That's letter 1. And you send that exactly as it states there, word for word. And what you could do in addition is attempt to charge them for your time. There's a schedule of fees there. If you're a vulnerable person as well, if you've got any disabilities or kids living with you or anything like that, you can throw this one in for good measure, which helps the case as well. And also you need to try and find out everything they've got about you also. And there's another handy template letter there. So if after 14 days you haven't received anything favourable, i.e. close of account or a favourable response, you then send letter 2, which is a notice of non-response. What you're basically saying there is, I've not had a satisfactory response from you, therefore I'm going to ask you a second time. And you can see the key terms there: a notice of assignment, a default warning letter, default notice, deed of assignment. Those are the key factors. You send that off. And again, I have to emphasize it has to be done by recorded delivery, so you've got proof of postage. There's the fee schedule again there. There's another template letter asking for the actual original credit agreement that you're party to. If you've not got a satisfactory response there, what you do then is send them what's called a notice of irrevocable estoppel, which is basically you failed, piss off. It's given them a final opportunity, basically, to put up or shut up, and the consequences of that if they don't. Also, with that letter, you have to give them something which is basically telling them, stop processing my personal information, and also cease and desist, basically stop all your activity. And that is all that information there. And it's all on the Beat the Bailiffs website. Very, very effective templates. Now, as well as that, around about now, because you should be seeing this about 8 o'clock in the morning, between 8 and 8:30, if you look in the community section of my channel, I've taken the liberty of publishing one post per letter. So it's all there for you as well. So you can, have the text so you can get going if you have the problem. Now, as I said, when you get to the end of the 3 letters, they will either close your account, just continue harassing you. I mean, I've got one case I'm helping someone with that's been going on for 3 years and could very well end up in court as well. The emphasis is it's a lot of work. It's a game of attrition. They try to grind you down into the ground and try and get you to give up and cough up, but you can't. You can't with these bastards. That's what they want. And even if it got to court, which again we will cover in another live stream, if you ever got that court summons, it's not over then either. The burden of proof is still on them to provide. Don't ever, ever let any of this scare you, because, they've won, if so. And, we'll go through that again. Or they just continue to harass you forevermore. They know the game's up. They know that more and more people are becoming aware of their tactics, what they do, and how they act. And it's time that we started getting information like this out there to try and put a stop to it. Of course, the best thing is to keep it with the original creditor. I'll leave you with this. Do you know how much the statutory minimum amount is every month you have to pay to a credit card or a loan if you're in debt? £1. £1 every month. So these people that say, oh, I pay £20, £30 a month, call them up. Tell them you can't afford it. Pay £1. You're better off if it's still with the original creditor. But this process I've shown you is how to deal with the debt collectors if it actually goes that far. I hope you found this useful. The video before this was about council tax, and I'm going to do something similar within the next couple of weeks about council tax, how you deal with the council tax bailiffs if it goes that far, and you will find that interesting as well, and how you can get the council tax debt transferred from the bailiff back to the council and then deal with them directly. It's all possible. And again, you have to see through the fear. Do not let them push you around, bully you, or allow you to be intimidated. It's like the school ground bully at the end of the day. You poke back and they'll stop. Anyway, I'm off. If you've got any comments, questions, or anything, leave them below. I'll try my best to answer them. Don't forget, in the community tab, you'll see the template letters there and all useful information for you. There'll be one more video today, which will be out very shortly. And until then, toodaloo.